First of all, Kenny Veysey been here a long time, but his final game on Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll be very emotional for him. It'll be a bit emotional for me, to be honest. I mean, I'm absolutely gutted to see him go because he's just a great character to have around the place. He's Torquay through and through. But I think with all walks of life, there comes a time, I think, where your personal life and what you want to do becomes bigger than that, and he says he needs a break, and I respect that, and I respect him totally. So I'll shake his hand. I'm very sad to see him go, but I'm glad that he's going to go on and go away and enjoy life for a bit away from football and take stock. And he's got a fantastic young family around him as well, so I'm sure he'll be a very happy man. And I think when you've been in football that long, I bet he'll hit a wall when he gets home and realises that he's not going to get up the next morning. It might take him a few days of being in bed before he gets the energy to get going again. But no, great bloke, everything about him, so I wish him well.
So Kenny leaves, Robbie Herrera now your right-hand man.
Yeah, Robbie starts on Monday. He's got a few commitments with Plymouth that he needs to see out, which is good because he says that Plymouth have been very good to him, and again, I've said from day one I'm all about doing things properly, and I'm glad that Robbie has taken that on himself to do that. So yeah, he'll come in Monday. Very, very happy to have him. You know, it's lucky that you've got somebody who's local and so motivated and keen to come in and do well, and I think we'll work well together.
Who's like to work with the goalkeepers in future?
That's something I've got to have a look at. I've had one or two calls already. You know, there's always things out there that you can do. It's not been my biggest priority because those games have come so thick and fast lately that I've barely had time to sit and think about that. But that'll be something I'll address early next week and see if we can, even if they have to go and train with somebody else for once or twice a week, or if somebody can come in just freelance, I suppose, and work with them. But you know, they've been working with Kenny all season, so they know what's expected. They know the standards that they've got to meet, and I'm trying to put together an environment where we're a group of men that look after themselves. And so if they've got to do that for a bit, then I fully expect them to do it and be ready to play on Saturday.
4 points out of 6 on the road over the last couple of games. You're back at Playmore this weekend. What are the differences between playing at home and playing away? Just the way you set up as much as anything?
Shouldn't be any for me. You know, we've gone to Southport, we've gone to Woking, we've attacked them, we've done everything in parts, should I say. We've done everything that I've asked, which is, you know, making sure we don't mess about in our half, but then having the courage on the ball to get it down and play in theirs. And it makes no difference whether that's at home, away, or anywhere else. It's just at home, if you make a mistake, you've got a few thousand frustrated fans that haven't seen what they've wanted yet. And so it's for us to go and do that. And if we play anything like we've done in patches over the last 2 games, you know, you'll have 2,000 people that are roaring you on to keep it going. And it's a great game against Grimsby anyway, who are doing well, and I think it gives us a chance to step in and see how far we've come.
And they've been scoring a few goals. You've tightened up at the back, but I presume that's a work in progress still, is it?
I think it's all a work in progress still, you know. It does feel like I've been here a long time, but it's actually been 2.5 weeks. So, you know, we've been working as hard as we possibly can on the training ground to get the lads to see what works and see that preparation is the key. But they're new to it, so you know, they've listened, to be fair to them. I've seen a lot of signs that what we've been working on has come out in the games. But until I see a full 90 minutes where they do everything that we've worked on and more, then I'm not going to be totally happy. And I hope they're not totally happy. So, yeah, happy with the progress, but we're 2.5 weeks in, and you know, we will work now, today and tomorrow, towards the Grimsby game and not think about anything else. And then I've got a free week of training next week where we can really put some work in on the team ethic, on the way we want to play, and on the understanding that these lads will soon have absolutely down to a T.
Understandably, confidence wasn't great when you first took over. How high is it now, would you say, amongst the players?
It's probably too high on Monday, which is probably a good thing in some ways. You know, it's nice to see them smiling. It's nice to see them looking like they were enjoying it. It was the first thing I said when I was interviewed when I first got the job. I want them playing with a smile on their face. But now they've got to realise that there's a difference between being overly happy and walking around in a daydream and coming to work with a smile on your face, ready to graft, because nothing beats the feeling of winning, and you earn that feeling of winning by what you do on the training pitch. So I'm glad they're enjoying it, I'm glad that they're up, and we want to keep them that way, but we also want to make sure that they're focused with it.
Angus and Dan presumably back in contention for this weekend?
Yeah, they were both fantastic at Southport. Angus can't count to 5, which is a bit worrying, but yeah, they'll be back in and around it, and I'm sure they'll be raring to try and get the place back and put one over Grimsby.
Harry Hickford still here?
He will be for Saturday, but then that will probably be it, because fair play to him and MK Dons, you know, they want him to be playing every week, and I can't guarantee that, and so he's going to go back. He's got a few games with their under-21s and reserves to show their manager how he's come on. But I thought he was fantastic against Woking, you know, for a young lad who at the start of the week he thought he was going back, and then he got a late call to come because Angus can't count to 5, and yeah, and I thought he stepped in, and I thought he was fantastic alongside Smithy. You know, he dealt with 2, 3, 4 good players that they've got in that side, and he stood up and he was countered and he did virtually everything I asked of him. So I've got nothing but good things to say about Harry, but I think Saturday will be his last game.
You talked about evaluating the players, and I think that timescale is probably now pretty much gone. Any news of any ins as of yet?
It's something I'll be putting some work in now. Yeah, you know, the squad is starting to get a little bit small now, and you know, I've spoken to a few players with where they are. There's 1 or 2 that have to go away now and put some work in if they want to be here long term. But that's a positive. That's not a threat or you know. There's a lot of them. If you say something like that to them, they look at you like they think, well, he doesn't like me, and that's it. But there's 1 or 2 players here. Someone like Sam Chaney, for instance, who he could be the long-term future of this club. He's an incredibly talented young man, but he needs to go away and he needs to work on the physical side of his game, and he needs to work on the mental side of his game. But if he goes away and does that and comes back and maybe plays a few games on loan if he can get there, then you know, there's no reason he can't be your next Ewan O'Kane, because he's in a similar mould to how he tries to play. But you have to convince these lads that when you say stuff like that, you're not just making an excuse to get rid. It's not the case. I've said from day one, all they'll ever get from me is honesty, whether they like it or not.